this week, and I would like to suggest that the campaign be broadened to address the following issue. Voula's Law. In 2021, this House unanimously voted in support of Bill 129, which sent a message that the misuse of the Trespass to Property Act that keep loved ones away from family members in care homes must stop. However, in spite of the acceptance of this motion, the Trespass to Property Act is still being used illegally to restrict access to visitors of people living in retirement homes, group or long-term care homes, and even in private homes. The result is the forced separation of vulnerable adults and disabled children from their caregivers. Indeed, the unlawful use of the Trespass to Property Act continues to create a palpable culture of fear and silence among people living in care and with their family members. That fear is palpable. The government knows this problem is ongoing, that there are many, many people being illegally barred from visiting their loved ones, but it continues to refuse to do anything about it. There's another issue also that needs to be clarified. On May 5th, 2023, I wrote to the former Minister of Long-Term Care about the misuse of the Trespass to Property Act to ban people from visiting their loved ones in care settings. He referred at the time to the Residents' Bill of Rights that, in theory, would solve the problem. Now, we know it hasn't solved the problem because it's going on and on and on. But also in his response, he implied that the health and safety of staff was grounds for issuing trespass to the visitors of care facility occupiers. But this is not correct. In accordance with our court's decisions, the Occupational Health and Safety Act is not a valid ground for trespass. So to be clear, as per our court's rulings, the Trespass to Property Act and the Ontario Health and Safety Act have no application in determining who can and cannot visit someone living in care. In fact, nowhere in the Trespass to Property Act is health, safety, or behaviour an enumerated ground to trespass. Unsafe or dangerous behaviour by the general public is governed by our criminal code and enforced by the police. The removal of a person visiting a home can be done so pursuant to the disturbance of the peace, mischief, or a peace bond is also an option. Again, the only person who has the right to decide who should or should not be allowed in their living space is the occupier. So the issue is that these abuses of the Trespass to Property Act are continuing quite routinely. Seniors and others in care are being forcibly isolated, and too many police officers are mistakenly upholding the illegal use of the law. The consequences are deadly. People are forcibly isolated. Those banned are forced to take on expensive court proceedings to receive a ruling that will come inevitably that the trespass order is not valid. Again, the only person with the right to decide who and who cannot enter a person's home is the occupier of the unit, whether it is a single room in a house or a unit in a congregate living space. In the most recent years, in the most recent case I am working on, a son who was visiting his mother every single day has been blocked for 90 days from visiting with her and is having to hire lawyers to prove to the police and the facility that they are in the wrong and are in fact breaking the law. When police are ignorant of the correct use of the law, they themselves become vulnerable to charges of breach of trust. We are not waiting for action. Together with other advocates fighting against the abuse of seniors and the abuse of people with disabilities, we have launched a campaign with police to change their training in order to protect police from the consequences of the misuse of the Trespass to Property Act, and, most importantly, to prevent others from using it as a weapon to stop criticisms of the level of care being received in homes. So what I would like to see is, again, there undoubtedly will be some kind of public relations campaign that goes along with this bill. So let's broaden that campaign so that the people across the province understand the correct and incorrect application of the Trespass to Property Act, so that people are not isolated and punished for raising issues about the quality of care they are receiving.
Good idea.
So, a few other things that are of concern.